are really impressed with you, Mr. Tan.
Why, thank you. I expected as much.
I'd like to introduce to you our MD, Miss Whitmore.
Hi, Mr. Tan. How would you like to come and work with us?
Awful?
Excuse me?
Can you hear me? I said awful.
What did you say?
I hate you. I said.
I would hate myself if I say no to you. Hello, Miss Whitmore. Miss Whitmore.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello. I love you. Hello. I said I would love to work with you. Hello.
We always see advertisement about 4G LTE network everywhere. But what is 4G LTE? Before we dive in, let's take a moment to tell you about the brief history of 4G LTE. As our need for data consumption grew, there was an understanding that we would reach a tipping point for data at some point. Around the turn of millennium, the International Telecommunication Union, ITU, which governed things like radio frequency and spectrum, commissioned the 3GPP to study what could be done to improve existing network. A few options presented themselves. First was WiMAX, a next generation technology which already took place. WiMAX was good, but it was a built network from the ground up. Switching to it would be expensive and time consuming for existing carriers utilizing CDMA and GSM. The next option, which was born in the study, was LTE. An LTE network would simply be redesigned of what is currently in place. So the cost was relatively low, as both CDMA and GSM had reached a plateau of sorts regarding data speed transmission. LTE seems like a clear winner. It was cheaper, used current technologies, and we could be implemented rather quickly. We can see that WiMAX not an innovation from existing 3G technologies because need to build it from ground up. It is more time and pricier, but for LTE, an innovation from the three technologies. In 2004, the decision was made to go with LTE for the further of data transmission. After the normal bureaucratic red tape associated with such ventures, the first public LTE networks were available in Oslo and Stockholm, December of 2009. The next spring, the first commercially available phones would go on sales in the US, which is the Samsung Galaxy Indulge for Metro PCS and HTC Thunderbolt for Verizon.
Concept of the system. What is LTE? LTE, long-term evolution, is the project name given to development of high-performance ad interface for cellular mobile communication systems. It is the last step towards the 4G of radio technologies designed to increase the capacity and speed of mobile telephone networks. LTE used a different form of radio interface, but there are many similarities with the earlier forms of 3G architecture and opportunities for reuse of some element of 3G network architecture. LTE can be seen as providing an evolution of functionality, increased speeds, and general improved performance compared to 3G. Next is modulation techniques. Orthogonal frequency division multiplex form the basic signal format used within the 4G LTE. OFDM is the basic format used, and this is modified to provide the multiple access scheme. OFDM is based on the well-known technique of frequency division multiplexing, FDM. In FDM, different streams of information are mapped onto separate parallel frequency channels. Each FDM channel is separated from the others by a frequency guard band to reduce interference between adjacent channels. For OFDM, a signal format that uses a large number of closed-space carriers that are each modulated with low-rate data streams. The closed-space signals would normally be expected to interfere with each other, but by making the signal orthogonal to each other, there is no mutual interference. The data to be transmitted is shared across all the carrier, and this provides resilience against selective fading from multi-part effect. While the basic concept of OFDM are used, it has naturally been tailored to meet the exact requirements for LTE. It provides the essential spectral efficiency to achieve high data rates, but also permits multiple users to share a common channel.
For content of the technology, the capital G we can refer as the generation of cellular network technology. That's mean a new generation is more faster than before. However, it depends on its own specification and maybe even from different frequency. There are a lot of things we need to consider when we talk about speed of the connection. So when a new generation will come out, usually this new generation require new hardware and stuff, so they are very different from before, and these specifications are usually typically drawn by a new organization we call as ITU, International Telecommunication Union. 4G, they draft the requirement. 4G network is about 200 megabit per second, the download speed. So as an example, when we use the 4G network, we can download the medium-sized app, it's about 15 seconds, and we can upload to the YouTube video, it's under 2 seconds. Nowadays, we can see that not all smartphones are going to get that speed. At certain case, actually it doesn't, but it can be ideal for the minimum speed. As I mentioned it earlier, the minimum speed for 4th generation is 100 megabit per second. So the company actually not get that minimum speed. So technically, they cannot say they doesn't have the 4G network technology. And because of this, a new term was created, which is LTE, stand for long-term evolution. So 4G LTE will introduce to us, and this kind term is kind like improvement of the 4th generation specification. So that 4G LTE is not like fast compared to minimum specification in 4G, but it's much faster compared to 3rd generation. So we can see that they try to evolving the technology towards the 4th generation. The next is 4G LTE Advanced. This kind of technology is just another improvement specification towards maximum speed. That means this version is more faster than 4G. But the thing is, the LTE specification also has minimum speed 100 megabit per second. It's kind of like same like a regular 4G specification as I told before. So technically, yes, 4G LTE Advanced is similar like 4th generation. LTE introduced a few important technology improvements to help carriers reach the speed initially proposed for 4G. This include to make use for more bandwidth at once and improve multiple input, multiple output MIMO antenna to support and improve the cell edge of the coverage. However, this also require new smartphone modems or laptops and other radio technologies. So the early 4G smartphones cannot be using. There are 7 key components and technology when we talk about 4th generation. The first one, MIMO, multiple input, multiple output, is the system which can take advantage the multipath of propagation to increase the range and coverage of the system. The second one is smart antenna, which can temporarily improve the gain. The third one is the ADHOC network, which is the system itself can determine the shortest path with the least power consumption. The fourth one is the adaptive modulation and coding AMC, which can optimize the system parameters such as modulation, coding, bandwidth, channel estimation filter, and automatic gain control. The fifth is adaptive hybrid ARQ, automatic repeat request, which is capability to recover from the signals from noise, interference, and fades. The sixth is improved modulation. And the last one is software-defined radio, SDR. It's used to traditionally implement in special purpose hardware to be implemented in modifiable software or firmware operating on programmable processing technologies.
Analysis and discussion. Now, you asking what is the difference between my 4G and with the 4G LTE? Today, most cellular carriers offer 4G network connectivity, and some areas are compatible with the faster 4G LTE network as well. To a casual observer, 4G and 4G LTE may seem like the same term, but they are actually different technologies. Unlike 3G, 4G allows users to fully enjoy digital media on their mobile device, including streaming video and high-quality music. Today, 4G is a new standard unless you are in a dead zone where 3G is the only available option. In layman's terms, the difference between 4G and LTE is that 4G is faster than LTE, but in most cases, the download speed is comparable unless you reside in a major city. As cellular carriers continue to update their LTE network, they have closed the gap between LTE and real 4G. This is especially true with LTE, which is currently the fastest option available.
So, in a nutshell, the past several years has been much wider rollout for LTE-A. Carrier aggregated networks are now common around the world. Fast 4G LTE speeds are finally here, just in time for the industry to begin making the switch to 5G. Although much of the industry's attention focus on 5G networks, 4G LTE remains the backbones of the world's wireless network, and it is still seeing its fair share of major improvements too. Okay, that's all from us. Thank you for watching. Click subscribe, like, and on notif. Dah.